It's called Max now, and they did it on purpose. They can't let anything traditional last. And we talked about this before. HBO would have these bangers, bro. Like the first two seasons of Game of Thrones were cultural, like events. And then all of a sudden, all the European porn stars were getting railed. They're gone, okay? And then all of a sudden, the women were kicking ass. That's done on purpose because we can't have nice things. Again, going back to ESPN the other day, and Johnny said it. It's like we're in a cultural war right now.
Cash Daddies. Cash Daddies. Cash Daddies. Cash Daddies.
Cash Daddies is for entertainment purposes only. You'd be an idiot to listen to anything these degenerates say. Invest at your own risk, do research, but seriously don't listen to these ass clowns. Now enjoy Cash Daddies.
Welcome to Cash Daddies. We're banking fatties. Joining me as always from the log cabin. Who knows why he's out there? We're going to hear it. One only Nick fan. Howie, Dewey, bump, 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 bump. And joining us on the ones two, Jay Nice, J Dog, Juicy Johnny, Johnny Woodard.
Yes. Hello. What's up,
guys? How are ya?
Clippers, huh?
Clippers.
They're just winning basketball games. Tremendous.
Clippers.
We're not going to get caught on the sports thing. We're not going to talk about it, but we do. Look, the Clips, the NBA playoffs right now are the best, and I'm being a little biased because I'm a Knicks fan, but we've seen some of the best games we've seen in years. I mean, the Clips went up 30 last night, almost pissed it away. Thank God they got Paul George.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. My first team's Clippers, my second team's Knicks, okay?
Oh.
The refereeing has been awful, and if you study the two games in which the Clippers went up by 30, watch the fouls being called. Dude, Luka was able to pull a charge while he was in the air.
That was bullshit.
They let that guy do anything, man.
He was in the air when they called the charge on Paul George. I mean,
dude, how about Joel Embiid just throwing haymakers at Knicks? Joel Embiid,
by the way, this is perfectly. It's very crazy that's happening with him with the Knicks because the Knicks have wanted him forever. But like, dude, he's on his way out of Philadelphia, dude. He's on his way out. But great basketball, all that stuff. We gotta get into it because it's very interesting to me because I'll watch the internet and I have an algorithm. I know my algorithm tells me certain things, and then I come on here, and Howie totally disagrees with what I've been hearing on the internet. And one of those things is about how much money these streaming services are losing. There's a guy named the Quarterling. I think it's Josh from the Quartering. The Quartering. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, he just did something about streaming services losing $5 billion. And I think I might have sent that to you guys just to see what you guys thought. And I'll find a link in it, but I mean, like, because I keep hearing this woke shit is causing chaos at these streaming services, but then I come on here and my good friend Howie Dewey is like, oh shit, they're crushing it.
Not
Jeremy
everyone.
from the Quarterling. It's Jeremy.
Not everyone. Not all these companies are. Some of them are. Paramount's not. Paramount's been in the shitter for years since Sherry Redstone's father died. I mean, that dude ran a company. He knew what to do. He dies. His daughter takes over. I don't know how she got a foot in the door because he disowned her, but she basically just ran up debt on the company. The company's in the shitter. Bob Bakish was hired to come in and save the company. I think he probably was doing some good things. Problem is the company's got too much debt. He didn't want to sell the company. She's like, I have to sell the company because I fucking ran it into the ground. I got too much debt.
Bro, this is the story of every business. They give it to the kids and the kids have no clue what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah,
we should say, if you don't know, Bob Bakish is out. He's the CEO of Paramount. He's out.
Yeah.
They want to have a merger with Skydance, and Skydance apparently, from what I've read here, has come to the table like final offer. And it got to that point where they had to shit or get off the pot. Now, if everything I've read, if they want to now not do the merger, they really fucked up, because Bob Backus is kind of the guy you want if you're not doing the merger.
Yeah.
So they basically ruined their bargaining position, is what it sounds like. It's just stupid.
Backus said, I can't be here if you're going to go through with this bullshit merger, because this merger is going to ruin the company. That's what he said. Sherry Redstone said, okay, we'll get rid of you then. And that's what they did. Do I like Paramount now? Hell no. You're going to like this, Sam. So they replaced Backus with 3 different executives. And I'm going to give you a good analogy. Let's say you're a Division I basketball coach at
which
Indiana,
I always dreamed.
and you're 1-14 to start the season off, and the college fires you. So what do? They always hire an interim coach. That guy gets to take over, and guess what? It doesn't matter if he goes fucking 20-0 or 15-5. They're gonna fire you at the end of the season and they're gonna put a new search out and find a real coach. And that's what they're doing at Paramount. They got 3 clowns coming in to replace Backus, and they'll.
Can I just read what they called it? They called it, instead of a CEO, and they now have office of the CEO. So the office has 3 people in it. It's CBS president and CEO George Cheeks, Chris McCarthy, president and CEO of Showtime/MTV Entertainment Studios, and Paramount Media Networks, and then Brian Robbins. He's the head of Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon. The company. It sounds like also their CFO Naveen Chopra is going to have be kind of working up a little bit to kind of meet them. But yeah,
so let's talk about what Johnny just said. He's got 3 people that have taken over.
Really 4, it sounds like, that are going to
basically, yeah, to run it. And Sam's talking about the woke shit, which definitely it's not the biggest impact of why these companies are shit in the bed. There's many more reasons, but it's definitely part of it. So let's talk about Chrissy McCarthy, who is now they upgraded him to a chief financial officer of the company. Chris McCarthy's the one that ran MTV in Comedy Central right in the shitter. Chris McCarthy was Mr. Woke guy. We can't say this. We can't do this. We got to make sure we have enough gay or bisexual minorities for comedians. Yeah. This is Chris McCarthy. Chris McCarthy ran Comedy Central into the ground. He's hated there. Nobody likes him because he
Hollywood sucks. Is failure way up, man. It is even somebody like Kevin Hart. If you study his early years, dude, that guy's shows got canceled. The difference between, and I love Kevin Hart. I'm not an anti-Kevin Hart guy, but the amount of times that some people get opportunities versus other people not getting opportunities, and how like these suits, their batting average doesn't matter. But if you're not the guy that the industry likes, you get one shot, and you got to do so well that it's undeniable. If it's okay success, we don't like you. I mean, I can't tell you the people, and I'm not here to say names because some of them failed every single fucking time they got a show, and they just keep moving up. I mean, one name I'll name is Sarah Silverman. Sarah Silverman literally had a show that was the lowest rated show in the history of television. Then she got a show where she's working with stupid pets. It's like unbelievable to me. And I don't even hate Sarah Silverman. I like Sarah Silverman's comedy.
Let's talk about Paramount, which is a great indication to the whole industry.
And this scares me because I love Ink Masters, and you're starting to make me think there may not be another Ink Master, and I don't know.
There may not be. Eventually, Ink Masters is going to go bye-bye. I hate to tell you.
Man, I would
not just work on a couple of those.
Dude. I love that show.
Yeah, it's a great show. But look, let's look at Paramount in general. Comedy Central used to be an absolute banger. And if you look at Comedy Central now, there's one show that brings in revenue to Comedy Central. One show. We know what that is. It's fucking South Park. They wrote those 2 fellas a check for over $1 billion. And in the contract, and Howie knows the contract, because I know a few people that work there, in the contract, they have one stipulation. I swear to Christ, it's in the fucking contract. This is true. the contract says we're going to write episode after episode. You cannot change anything. Every episode we write has to be verbatim.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can tell us everything.
Yep.
That's number one. And if you look at South Park, there's not a lot of editing on their shit.
Yep.
Whatever they want to do, they get to do it because it's
Yep.
the only thing holding that channel above water. You know what? Rule number.
Who was the fat gay comic? What, Louis Anderson, right? I've said this before. He said the difference between when he was coming up versus now. When he came up, the comics told the suits what were funny, and now the suits are telling the comics what are funny.
Yeah, and that's Comedy Central,
which is crazy because, like, if you actually study what again, and you know, Mark Zuckerberg allows to even listen. I'll even say it on my Instagram. Lately, I've had things blow up, and they're always the most simplest shit. Like I saw a funny meme and I posted it. It was like the history of Japan. It was a samurai, a nuclear war, then an e-girl with like that, you know. And dude, it's gotten so many likes. I've never gotten this many likes on a thing in my life. It's crazy to me. And then my pronoun joke, that blew the fuck up, got almost 900,000 views. That's the simplest shit. So my point is that is like the suits are doing it so wrong because simple is thriving right now. Their job is so easy. And they just want to put, like we talked about this in our thread, the ESPN, the greatest day ever in NBA, one of the greatest days in NBA history. And they open up with fucking Candace Parker retired, and not even like 2 seconds of it, interviewing some WNBA player no one's ever heard of for like 5 minutes. Then getting into Caitlin Clark playing basketball in Indiana. Nobody even cares about the Indiana Pacers.
Let me stop you. Why do you think the new CEO of Disney wants to get rid of ESPN? Because he's fucking smart. The new CEO of Disney has that company going in the right
direction. Let me ask you something, Howie. Do you not think that ESPN is getting their marching orders from Disney? Because this fits into, I also put a funny meme up that it said if Disney bought Nintendo and it was a picture, it was Super Mario, but he was a fat black lesbian in a wheelchair. That's what it would be, right?
No, that's more Comedy Central. That's not Disney anymore. You got to remember something, Sam.
Johnny, do you believe that? Do you believe Disney's not tweaking some shit?
No, dude. What have we been? You don't listen. How are you not, Johnny? Tell me who the new CEO is, because you don't fucking listen.
Thank you.
Who's the new CEO, Johnny, at Disney?
Oh,
Bob Iger.
Yeah, it's Bob Iger. Yeah, I mean, but I just don't know.
Get rid of this shit.
I don't, but he's not. But look at, I mean, the proof is in the content, right? He just hasn't done it yet. When he does it, I think he's more in there to kind of play hardball with the business from the business end. I don't think.
Yeah, but if you listen to their earnings calls and stuff, dude, he's definitely trying to go the opposite direction. He'd love nothing better than to sell ESPN.
Now, I will say they have kind of sorted out Marvel. I don't know. Marvel cut back the movies they're doing by a lot. So I think they realized that, hey, we're driving this fucking thing into the ground. There's just not enough talented people to have 4 movies a year of Marvel.
But Sam,
I think that's his forte right there.
Chris McCarthy from Comedy Central. He's the guy that 10 years ago came in and said, we need every woke thing that we can do. We need every woke comic. We got to really push this stuff. Except for South Park. And you know what? And I'm trying to say the second thing South Park has in their contract, they said, when we come to New York, or if you come out to visit us, anyone can come, but not Chris McCarthy. I swear to God, it's in the contract. He can't go near it. Here he is. He just got pumped up to an executive at Paramount today, and he can't go near anyone from South Park. It's written in the contract. He has nothing to say with the show, nothing to do, and it's the most profitable show. So what does that tell you? That tells you I give this guy 3 to 6 months before he's fired. You can see it coming, man. This is what happens in big business.
I agree. Listen, dude.
Just don't fuck with South Park, man, please.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Johnny, how many times have we talked about this? That like these, like like HBO before it became Max. And by the way, that is a giant psyop right there. You took a name that people love, HBO, and you went with its like redheaded stepson.
It's still
Max. Nobody
it's
likes
still on
Cinemax
hotels.
was a
I still see it
joke.
on hotels in Inglewood where it's like free HBO. I mean, it's like you're so right, dude.
I didn't even know HBO was still around. I really didn't.
Yeah, it's called Max now, and they did it on purpose because they can't let anything traditional last because it's all about now. Now your kids will never know HBO; they'll only know Max. So and we talked about this before. HBO would have these bangers, bro. Like the first two seasons of Game of Thrones were cultural, like events, and then all of a sudden the story changes, and all the European porn stars were getting railed. They're gone. Okay. And then all of a sudden the women were kicking ass. That's done on purpose because we can't have nice things. Again, going back to ESPN the other day, and Johnny said it.
Yeah.
It's like we're in a cultural war right now.
I agree with you.
I mean, you take a look, if you take a look, Howie, this is the exact same thing that happened to Dave Chappelle. That show got so big. They were like, okay, we'd like to step in and help with it. And he's like, fuck you. They're like, no, we think we should. We went to college. It's like, even though she's my friend, and I'm not going to say her name, but, Joe Rogan talks about when he took over the Man Show, like how he had to pitch the show to a woman who is a friend of mine, and I like her a lot. So I don't want to say her name, but he brought it up. And it was like, you're pitching to someone the show's not for.
Yeah, you're pitching the Man Show to a woman. I mean, think about that on the surface.
If you get into like Hugh Hefner and what Hugh Hefner did, he took HBO and he gave it to his daughter, and she ran it into the ground.
Yeah, she ran everything into the ground.
Yeah, it's just not enough.
Into the ground.
It used to be you wanted in your demo, especially if you were in comedy, they were targeting, what was it, like 20 to 40 men. But now men is just not enough. I don't know, for whatever reason. It's just that's just not what they want.
You gotta hit the bi community, Johnny. We can't forget them. We can't forget them.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about our friend James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for over a decade and you still done nothing about it? It makes sense. It totally makes sense. Crypto is complicated and it's really boring. Well, we're here. Well, here's the good news. Okay. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make the money so many have. The copymycrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTuber James McMahon personally owns, which means you just copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest, as you simply copy along. So let me tell you about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put $100 into each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one he singled out, called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one alone has retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/Sam. That's copymycrypto.com/Sam, SAM. You'll not only find the proof of everything I've said, but my viewers get full access for just $1. Yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any more time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/Sam. It's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you.
No, man. But I will say this. I've been watching Disney, and when Iger got hired, I know this. I've talked to guys that work for him, and I know what his philosophy is. And it's not the woke. That's not his thing, man. And you can see some of the changes this guy's making. And I'll tell you what, and I think, Sam, you'll agree with me. If you look at the past 50 years, what comes around goes around. We always go through stages and we're like, wow. And then 10 years later, we're like, what the fuck were we thinking about? Look how dumb corny we were for going that route. And I'm telling you, I can see, and even some of the big producers at some of these large companies tell me this, that we're going slowly away from this whole woke movement. I think we're going away from it. I'm starting to see some things that tell me that with some of these big companies.
Hope so.
I think they are, but I just don't think they can
dollars.
help themselves. I just really don't. There's so much rot in the middle. There's just so much. It's like it's gonna like, when they had the strike for both writers and actors, I was like, this is a move to get rid of all these motherfuckers that are just, and it's like, and to be honest with you, it's not the writers and it's not the fucking actors' real fault, because they just conform to what they're being told to do.
Sam, can I say you're so right? I was just at this farewell to Curb thing they had at the Paley Center, or Paley Fest, and they had the whole cast there, and Judd Apatow. Think about it, this is like the Hollywood elite doing. They were on panel, and even they were talking about. They said, it's really this show, in my opinion, to a much lesser extent, and South Park are the last of this era of shows that could say words like faggot and the N-word and stuff like that on TV. And they were complaining about it. Like those people, Larry David and Judd Apatow, were on stage like, yeah, I mean, it's over, Think about it.
Johnny,
If
I'm gonna
Judd
be honest with you,
Apatow
man.
is complaining about it, like, where's the power? Where's the seat of power in Hollywood?
Yeah, well, here's the problem, dude. Is it's like you go, okay, man, let's push back, but it's like, I mean, and we'll get into business because it's a business show, but it's like the last 2 weeks I've been on the road. I had a black midget want to fight me because of my pronoun joke.
Check that
a
out.
little leprechaun.
We got footage.
You got video on that?
Oh yeah, we got footage. Check it out on Broken Simulation. It's
and then I had this week again another black couple walk out because I opened up going, "Hey, what's up?" and F-bombs, right? And they walked out because they said we have a gay daughter, and I go, "What does that have to do with anything?" I mean, it just really doesn't. So it's like
what that says is they think their daughter is a faggot.
Yeah,
like, that's what that says.
100%, dude. There are no rules to this, but the infection is like the social contagion is there, and it's going to take a little while because what you have to convince people is that it's okay. It's okay. And you're just going to have to go through because there's going to be a lot of resistance, dude. I mean, comics are constantly, dude, I have a joke in my special. I'm debating if I'm putting it in. I mean, I'm like, these people, dude, there are words, bro. And I'm not talking about special needs people either. I'm talking about dumb assholes. We are fighting dumb assholes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. So let's get into some business. Crypto's been crazy. What do you guys want? You got stories? Let's do stories.
Well, let's talk about the whole. I mean, I had some of my comedian buddies too. They're like, Howie, what the hell happened? We had the halving. Bitcoin's supposed to be at 120,000. Why is it not moving up? And
well, I think it was just price. Now that we have institutional investors, those things are getting priced in earlier.
Exactly.
I think when we had that pop a couple months back, that was it. And I think you're going to see maybe retraceable now, but I think by into next year is when it's really going to take another leap.
What makes you think that, Johnny?
Just everything I've read. I watch a lot of videos and stuff on people who are doing the real hardcore, crunching the numbers on this shit, the fundamentals and everything. And they seem to all be saying that, all of them.
John, you make a great point. And what you said was the institutional investors got involved. Bitcoin's become a stock, man. It's become a stock. And like any stock, you're not going to see the 50% jumps in a month. It's going to be slow and steady. You're going to see it go up. You're going to see highs and lows, and it's going to slowly inch up. I think it's a great long-term investment, but those cowboy days are done, man. It's just
at least until the dollar collapses, because I mean, how the
hell is the dollar going to collapse?
How long can it go on like that? I mean, we're going to be at a point in 2 years where we're not taking in enough tax revenue to pay the interest on the debt.
Look where the dollar is right now.
What happens then, though, Howie? What happens when we're pulling in less money than it
Yeah.
takes to pay the interest on the debt. What is going to happen? Hyperinflation, surely, right?
Yeah,
Is that going to happen?
That's
2
coming,
years, or is
bro.
that going to
That
happen?
is coming. That is
That's
coming.
the mark is like 2 or 3 years from now is when that's supposed to happen. I mean, I sent this at the 38% of the currency, the dollars in circulation right now were printed in the last 18 months.
Yeah, bro. Think about that. And then go back to how much was printed when Trump was in. I mean, like these last two presidents, it's gone fucking nuts. And it's done on purpose. It's done because they want to destroy our dollar to get us onto crypto. And there's also talk that they owe China so much money. We've borrowed so much money that they're just devaluing the dollar. So they really owe them nothing.
Yeah,
I will say, can I say though, that means that Bitcoin, it will be worth a lot more in dollars, but what is that worth? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it might be worth $1 million a coin, but a dollar is worthless. So really, I think you're going to see people trading Bitcoin and people begging to buy into it. But that's down the line.
Maybe way down the line. But look, here's what you got now. Johnny brought up a point, and this is the most important point with the economy, and that's debt. And it's not the United States. The United States is one of them, but these other countries are way deeper in than we are. Look at some of these European countries. They're never climbing out of their debt. I mean, we aren't either, but they're way behind us. And you look at our dollar right now, where the dollar's trading. Look at the yen, the Japanese yen. The Japanese economy has been decent. The Japanese yen is trading, I want to say, at a 30 or a 40-year low to the dollar. It's the worst valued currency.
They're in trouble, dude. They're in real trouble, dude. Japan's in real trouble.
They're in trouble because over the past 2 years, when you say what you want about the Fed, but hiking up interest rates has definitely helped. It's definitely curbed inflation a little bit. It's made our dollar stronger. And what Japan's done, they have not moved their interest rates. They've kept them low. They are in big trouble.
They've also got this thing in there. A major flaw in their economy is that 1 in 10 people are 80 or older. Think about that. 10% of the potential workforce in China is older than 80 years old.
Dude, that's what happens that's what happens. I mean, dude, I'm going to say something and people are going to think I'm trying to be a real piece of shit. But I'm telling you, man, when you guys, there's something about when we have an educated female population, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't educate women. This is not the part of this. But the question is, what are they being taught? When they become educated, they don't want to have children. And the population,
agree, women should not go to college. I completely agree with that.
Well, Johnny, I'm not trying to say that because then nobody would go to college. Half the reason to go to college is for pussy, right? Is to get laid like you've never been laid before. It's the greatest. I mean, dude, I used to get pussy walking to school, like class. I just hey, how's it going? Next thing you know, we're banging. But I mean, I went to
Portland, Sam. I used to get raped falling asleep some nights. And I didn't know who it was.
He's talking about women, though, Howie. He's not the frat boys.
But the point is, guys, is that like something's happening when you overeducate women. They end up getting taught that having children is awful.
Yeah.
And it just because the powers that be know they have a way shorter window to have kids. So by the time
let's stop right there. What about the philosophy? And I believe this one. What about the philosophy that we're having less kids because abortion is becoming illegal in a lot of states? Because look, when you live in Alabama, and let's say you're a girl with a 4-year degree, and you see mutants walking around with 3 eyes, blowing nose and licking glass, it kind of makes you not want to have a kid. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but this started way before.
I totally agree. This has been like decades of just psyoping women into thinking having a kid it's just really sad because what happens is you end up getting told, right, that, it's like your work is the most important thing. And then when you grow older, you realize that work is like it's very funny that women got convinced to go to work. It just cracks me up. that they're like, dude, you want to work. I want to work. And then they get to work and they're miserable fucks. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but have you noticed that women are starting to get male pattern baldness? And it comes from stress at work.
Those are called trans, Sam. That's what it
No,
is.
they're
Hey,
not
you got some
trans,
fucking mind
dude.
on that, Tammy. Women are getting male pattern baldness.
Women are getting thinning hair. You actually see ads for it now
Interesting.
because they're stressing at work.
I think
The
you probably
stress
saw
of work.
the 1800s too. You probably had a shitload of bald chicks running around.
Well, I mean, they shave their head because of lice. That's a totally different thing. All right. Anyways, what's the next story?
That's so funny.
Let's just start with how badly we've been crushing on the Patreon because
Yes.
Talk about it. Preach.
it's
Preach,
getting
girlfriend.
ridiculous.
Preach.
Like, I mean, Caterpillar, Pfizer, DraftKings, Walmart, Tesla, Costco, Starbucks. I mean, we're making 30, 40, 50. Some dude bought Tesla. I sold it Thursday or Friday. I think I made 40%. Some dude dished it. He couldn't sell it Thursday or Friday, so he sold it today and sent me his ticket. This dude was up like 420%. Like,
Dude, I that was my experience with Pfizer because I always sleep in, so I don't get your picks until later in the day, and I didn't get Pfizer until it kind of come back a little, so I got a lot at a discount, and man, it popped. Nice.
You made like 70% on that.
Even a little more actually because I waited a bit. Yeah, it was.
I made like 30. So we sold that. We sold Pfizer. We bought it back again Friday. Pumped a little bit today. It's up like 30% again. So look, we're just picking, and choosing. We're doing a shitload of due diligence. The guys on the Patreon are awesome. I mean, some of these guys have gotten damn good. Some of these guys that started 2.5, 3 years ago, these guys are like becoming experts on this shit. They know when to get out. They're putting stop losses in. And they're like, well, Howie, what about this stock? And I'm like, who was it the other day? I can't remember the name, but he came out and he's like, look at Pfizer. It's hitting that low again. And I'm like, damn, I'm glad you just told me because it would have skipped me.
That's cool, right? It's a community. That's great.
Dude, I gave the guy props. I said, you can thank, shit, he's like my favorite patron. I can't even think right now.
Yeah, that's so great.
But no, so we've jumped back on it. It's up again. We're still holding some IBM, some Uber calls. Uber's dropped.
Ryan Johnson is your guy. Ryan Johnson, right?
Love Ryan Johnson, man. That guy's on the ball. He's on the ball. He banks fatties, trust me. So we're looking at a lot of these right now. Uber's dropping. I'm about ready to back up the truck on that if it drops another 2 points. But yeah, and this is a huge week for us because there's so many earnings out this week. I mean, you got earnings out Tuesday. You got 3M, Coca-Cola, Eli Lilly, McDonald's, Amazon. Wednesday, you got AMD, Starbucks. Thursday, you got Apple. So this is going to be a wild week. We'll be buying and selling. And no, it's been great. We got new guys coming on, helping them out with their IRAs, getting them started. Remember, if you're listening, you don't have an IRA, you got to start one. You're allowed to put $7,000 tax deferred in 2024 in an IRA. I think that comes out to like $1.50 a week if you wanted to max it out. Quick question. Guy goes, do I have to put the $7,000 in? No, you can put $70 in a year if you want. If you can only afford $25 a week, put it in. Shit, man, this is your retirement. And one of the things I do agree with Sam is that, this country is not taking care of its people as far as retirement that it used. The pensions aren't as good. You go to work for a big company, you can get laid off tomorrow. You got to do this shit on your own, man. You do. You got to set up an IRA, take care of yourself first, and go from there. But no, man, we've had a good few weeks, really good few weeks.
Right on. Nice, Howie. I know we've talked about the failure of San Francisco on the show, and kind of tracked it. And now they have a plan for business curfews that they think, and all the people, all the businesses are like, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to read. This is from Fox Business. Residents and small businesses concerns are seemingly rising in San Francisco around a proposed law that forces a curfew on some of the city's retail establishments. So that's their solution. Are you understanding? Their solution is not to solve the problem of crime, but to just put a curfew so that people can't do business all day. You know, I mean, that's insane? That's the ultimate big government solution to this. I do not think it will make any changes. Closing 2 hours before or after 4 hours, said the new Princess Market owner, and they just have a litany of people who work, you know, and own businesses in San Francisco. But that's their solution, is to put a curfew on certain neighborhoods, high crime neighborhoods, so that the businesses have to close.
Unbelievable, dude.
Rather than fixing the problem.
Right? It's like this is all part of a way to destroy. Like when we go to the studio, I drive by a 7-Eleven that used to be packed all the time. It now closes at like 10 p.m. because it's got one of those fucking. You ever see those weird contraptions that look like a generator? Then it has a pole and a blue light.
Yeah, I know exactly. Are you talking about the one next to that Ross on like
No.
Santa
This one's on Santa Monica.
That's the one I'm talking about. It's right. That Ross is like right next. It's Santa Monica and La Brea, right?
Is it it's if you go down Highland, you go
right
over 2 blocks.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I think it's a
Ross. It closes at like 10 p.m. now. It's got gates up. It's got everything.
That's a rough spot, though. That's a rough spot.
Yeah, but that spot isn't even like it used to be. Everything's kind of moved out. So it's like we're living in interesting times, dude.
Well, this to me, it reads like, Sam, remember that idea that we had that they were trying to clear out certain cities so that they could come in and buy all the real, and we saw it with like COVID, you know, they were buying up all the real estate. This reads to me like they just want to kill this thing so that they can come in and reform it into, you know, a model.
Dude, that is all they want to do in California. That's why they're running out all these businesses. They just want to redo them, turn them into 15 minutes.
They want it to be like Europe. That's what London's like, dude. It's all these slick, with these slick in and out stores with no cashiers. It's all electronic. You know, I think they just want it to be like that, where it's all everything's monitored. There's cameras everywhere.
All owned by the same people.
At Amazon, yeah.
Do you guys? I'm asking you this because our neighbors just moved here from San Francisco, and I asked the guy that.
Imagine moving from San Francisco to New York.
Yeah, he did. Bought a house in Westchester. Got an apartment with us. This dude worked at First Republic Bank, which went under. That's a whole different story. Now he works for Sovereign Bank. We had a long talk. And I said, yo, you lived in San Francisco? I'm like, yo, that place is crazy, right? And he goes, this is what he said to me. He goes, you know, I guess if you're here in New York and you look at the news, you might think it is. He goes, but truthfully, I worked there for 10 years downtown. And he goes, I don't know, man. I never really saw a lot of stuff there. I go, really? He goes, no, man. It was kind of like any city. That's what he told me. So I'm asking you guys.
You say that all the time about New York. You say that all the time about New York.
Last week, Sam, I'm looking at Twitter, and Twitter says, holy shit, things are going crazy at NYU. They're arresting college students. So I grabbed my phone. I said, Hots, I'm going over to NYU. I went over there, and I'm like, what's going on? Not one protester. Not one. I'm like, what's going on? Aren't the police here? And some guy's like, nah, man, I think that's up at Columbia. So then I got a buddy that goes to Columbia. And I said, yo, isn't it crazy up there at Columbia? He's like, dude, it's a few hundred people, man. He goes, it's something for the new. He goes, it's really not that bad. Yeah, you read the New York Post, and it's like, there's a Hamas protest. We got it. First of all, there's never been a Hamas protest. It's fucking anti-Netanyahu protest. Nobody's like, yeah, Hamas. Okay. That's the New York Post just making shit up. So I don't believe anything I read anymore. I don't believe Twitter. I don't believe the news. I think 90% of them are 100% full of shit.
If it's not reported by Alex Stein, I don't believe it either. Have you seen did you see him getting in a fight with the protesters at
dude, that guy's fearless.
He's so wild, man.
He's so fearless, dude.
Mortgage rates, by the way, what 7.17%. They just climbed again.
Going back up.
When is it gonna be? When can somebody buy a house who doesn't want to have a 7% mortgage?
Dude, they don't want you to buy a house.
We got a year.
They got to.
I mean, Sam, this shit happened. This has gone over the past 50 years. Look, here's where they really didn't want you to buy a house. in 1978, 79, 80, when you went to finance a house and it was 16%.
Oh,
That's when they didn't want
oh,
you to buy. I mean, right now you can still get a house at 7, first time buyer. There's probably deals. It's really not that bad.
that's not good. 7%. That's stupid.
You gotta remember something. No, we got spoiled. We got
Shoot me in
spoiled
the head.
with the three and a
Don't say
half,
that, Sam.
5%. We got spoiled, man.
Don't shoot me in the head. Do not shoot me in the head. Do not. Do not.
Well, I think a
Please.
year they'll come down a little bit, not like we saw before, but I think they'll come down some, but not anytime soon because shit, there's too many things rocking right now with the economy. So,
What do you think about Elon going to China and meeting with the premier of China?
dude, what and I said it. I told everyone the stock's too low now. He's gonna do something. I wrote it 100 times on the Patreon. I said he's about to do something. It's gonna jack this thing up, which is why a new Patreon member literally made $6,000 today by selling the Tesla calls that I sold on Friday. I
Nice.
was all pumped up. I made 50%. This guy made like 450%.
So we shouldn't be buying Tesla right now.
I think
Wait,
shit, it was up 20. What was it up, Johnny? 22
Oh,
points?
it was way. I mean, oh, hold on. Let me see if I have it. Top gainers.
We'll
Oh, it's
buy
out
it
there.
today.
Yeah.
What he did, Elon went over to China, and basically China loves Elon. They're like, listen, we're not gonna get rid of your factories and shit here. We'll help you out. You can still make your cars here. We'll make the price so it's reasonable.
It's
And
up
he's up
15% today and 33% on the week, which is just
33% a week. So if you had calls on that, you're up about 600%.
crazy.
So yeah, Elon went over there and stroked him, and that's what he's good at. He's good at it. And
He loves stroking, bro. He loves
Still
to
down a
stroke.
little year to date. Still down 22% year to date. So it could have some room, right, Howie? I mean,
Yeah. Now, with that being said, Johnny, I do think it drops back some from today, and we'll be on it again. We'll be.
well, that's what
calls.
happens, right? When it kind of jumps based on hype like this. It always comes back, right?
Yes, usually does. How many times have we talked about Boeing? Boeing's planes are falling apart. They fired the CEO. Every bit of bad news in the world came out. And then stock was at 168 on Friday, 167 on Friday. And I said, at some point this thing's going to bounce. Today they got $10 billion in funding. And what was the stock up today? Like 3-4%? It was up like 6-7 points today.
They let's see. Boeing on Monday tapped debt markets to raise $10 billion after the U.S. plane maker burned $3.93 billion in free cash during the first quarter, following slowing production of its best-selling jet. Sources familiar with the matter said. Boeing's credit rating hovered above junk status last week from rating agencies as the plane maker tries to recover from a crisis. Think about that, junk status, and they got $10 billion in.
That goes along with
credit.
what we always say. We always say, buy on bad news, sell on the good news. And that's the way the market's been going for 100 years, man. If you had saw that news that you just read, Johnny, from Friday, you would have been like, there's no way I'm buying this piece of shit with the debt rating dropping like that. And if you bought it, you would have been up almost 4% today. So that's what you got to take a contrarian view with this shit, man. You really do. Go against the grain and you make a lot of money. That's what it is.
The old fear and greed thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean they had other bad news too. There was did you see like one of those slides blew off of a Delta plane like that was going from New York to LA. They had to turn around on a Boeing jet. And still it climbs.
I'll tell you what, I was in Atlanta last week visiting my kid in college, hanging out with his fraternity, which was fun. It was a blast. Fucking kids are crazy. I was having flashbacks like my 7 years in college. And I'm on the phone with my girl, and she's like, you got to get back here your plane has to land by 6 because I got Knicks tickets. That was game 1. And game 2, actually. And we get on the plane, and we're maybe up in the air for 45 minutes. And this fucking lady right in front of me passes out. She passes out. So now we got an emergency because the asshole sitting next to her, I'm like, dude, just don't say anything. Just let her sleep.
I'm like, hold on. What is passing out?
She passed out. Her head went down like this. And I'm like, dude, just push her over to the side. She's just
Maybe
sleeping.
she's sleeping.
That's what I said. He goes, no, man. He goes, he's shaking her. She wasn't moving. I'm like, I go, dude, I don't know if you know this, but if somebody dies on a plane, they don't stop the plane. They put a blanket over them and you go to your destination so Howie can make the Knicks game. So if she's sick, if she's having a medical emergency, they got to drop the plane. And I'm like, there's no way. We're not dropping into Charlotte or DC, and I'm gonna miss a fucking Knick game because Sally here drank too much last night. No, that's not happening. So they gave her some water, put some ice on her head, and we made it. But man, I'm not shitting. I was really nervous. I was like, I told this was this lady next to me in the aisle, and I looked at her and I said, look, I'm not being mean or anything, but it'd be a lot better if she's dead versus just sick. Because if she's sick, we're not going to make it to Newark. And the lady's like, yeah, you're right. You got to make a good point there. So, she was alive. We made the Knicks game and the Knicks won. So it was all good.
Ford's EV, the Mach-E had a little bump this week. They're saying the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, is launching an investigation into their Blue Cruise hands-free driving technology after 2 fatal crashes involving Mach-E's. We keep hearing about this, mostly though, because like when you go into that mode in a Tesla, there's a thing that pops up and says, "Hey," and this is verbatim. Tesla's self-driving technology could do the worst thing at the worst time, so keep your hands on the wheel. I mean, and all of these are just people who didn't do that. They're just like taking naps. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. At what point is it people abusing a tool versus the actual tool that's the problem? The kind of news is going to kill this shit for a while until they really.
How far are we away from when you get in a car, just lay down in the back and say, "Take me to this destination"?
Well, that's what you can do with Waymo now, and I still see those cars around. In fact, I have a code to use them for like a month. I got to do that because I want to see what it's like. Most of the Waymos I see though have a driver. I've seen a few that don't, but most of them have a driver, which I don't. I guess they're still testing it or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, who actually wants to get into a car with no drive? I'm sorry, dude.
Well, only if
Hell
every
no.
other car
Maybe
doesn't have
I'm
a driver.
just like my grandma when they came out with answer machines and just
Yeah.
but I do the thought of getting in a car, like we are getting away from personal contact. It's not good. To
That's
not be able
technology.
to talk to somebody is not good.
Their
That's right
vision
there.
for the future though is that every car is driverless, so that, and then they want to invert the seats, the front seats, so that they're facing the back seat, so it's actually like a communal situation where people are just sitting there talking to each other, and then there's nothing facing the front of the.
Fuck that.
Yeah. You know what? That's all good until China drops a virus on you at 3 in the morning when you're coming home with your
Yeah.
buddies on the highway
Yeah.
doing 70 and you're loaded, and all of a sudden that virus hits and you've been hacked, and all of a sudden you're over a bridge dropping 100 feet.
Yeah, you're gonna wish you had a dirt bike then to
Yeah.
get out of the traffic, because it'll be like what was that movie where all the Teslas were piling up? Was it with the Julie Roberts movie that was on Netflix? The Obama produced. What the fuck was that called, Sam?
Leave the world behind.
Yeah. Remember all those Teslas were just piling up on the freeway? That's the future if something like that happens.
Everything I'm reading, especially with Ford, and even the government. I mean, Biden came out and he said they're really going hard back into hybrids right now. I mean, the whole EV thing has definitely slowed down quite a bit.
Except in California, where I swear like half the cars are Teslas here now.
My buddy, and he's a big conservative finance guy. He's got a Tesla, and I said, "How do you like it?" He goes, "I'll be honest. I live in Atlanta. It doesn't get too cold here." He goes, "It's the best car I've ever had." He goes, "I love it."
Great.
He loves it, but they do have problems. Like what was it last year in Detroit? None of them started.
Yeah, because it was so cold.
Like
Yeah.
5-6 degrees.
Yeah. So damn cold.
All right.
So
So let's get into Howie's pick.
All right, let's do it.
no, this week is so beyond crazy. But I think all those guys that have been waiting here, because Uber shot up to like 77. I think this week, I mean, today she closed She closed down to 67.40. And I really think that this thing is an opportunity. If Uber drops down to like 65, 64, 65, you got to get all over it. I love Uber. I love it. And that's my long-term pick too. I mean, I got a ton of it. Love it.
All right, guys. We're gonna go over there right now to the exclusive, the elusive, the people making fat bank over there at the Cash Daddies Patreon. Let's go. Hey guys, real quick. If you're in the Chicago area, I'm in Chicago. Actually, Aurora this weekend with Eddie Bravo and Xavier Guerrero. And then the following weekend, I am at the Stand Up Comedy Club. So go grab your tickets right now.